So we knew our homes were much more than just saving the owner money, so we stopped talking about green homes and we started talking about high performance homes, because after all, it's easy being green. This was an ad that just showed up in our Metro, this little daily freebie newspaper, just a few months ago. Classic greenwash. By reframing the discussion, we started to gain some traction in our conversations with our home buyers. Everyone understands a high-performance car, high-performance computer, high-performance athletes, so we felt they could relate to the concept of what a high-performance home is. And we were now able to get past the assumptions that people often have about green homes, that they're more expensive or that they have to sacrifice something in order to have one, and get into the real deliverable of a green home, which is performance. So in order to build a high-performance home that would achieve 86 rating without simply adding cost, we knew our processes needed to be different. All our decisions were informed by overall performance. Everything affected everything else, and it became very clear to us that working on the whole home and not just the individual parts would result in a much better house. And that's what we've been talking about here, about the integrated design process. And we also really quickly realized that our marketing would need to be centered around performance and not green. So we came up with a home performance label. I think we just saw in one of the other presentations the use of this label. We've just taken it and we've kind of used it for our own purposes. And we displayed it prominently on the house. So this was our pilot project house, and that thing is 20 feet high, that sign. People stop on the street and they gawk at it. I don't know if they understand it fully. We've had some feedback on that, but regardless, it's a stop and look. So some of the performance highlights of this home are reduced building heat loss by 51% over the same home built to code. So when we made our comparisons, we didn't want to take some other builder's home and try to compare them. We took this home, we modeled it in many different ways, and we drew those comparisons there. So this is compared to this exact same home, just built a bit differently. 59% reduction in natural gas use, 30% more wall insulation, 150% increase in the quality or the R value of the window. That doesn't sound like a lot, but performance-wise, it makes a huge difference. The result, a house that has an annual heat loss, and this is where your eyes get to gloss over, BTU loss per hour of 34,540 as compared to the same home with 61,855. There's no way you'd ever talk to a home buyer that way. Put simply, it means it'll take less energy to keep this house warm in the winter. That's all that we need to talk about. So we made it work. We met our goal of an Energy 86 home. And with the rebates offered by Climate Change Central through the Government of Alberta, we were able to include solar thermal in the house, which brought us up to Energy 88. All at a construction price, which allows us to sell this home at a competitive price for a home in that neighborhood. However, what we discovered during the process was that there's a number of significant challenges that we'll need to overcome in order to make these the norm, the mainstream. We identified 5 key areas that we feel are critical to moving these green homes into the mainstream. And they start with the home buyer. So why was it that people would throw ROI, or return on investment, into the mix right away? Why is it that they're willing to pay more for heated seats in their car, but when it came to a better HVAC system in their home, they didn't see the equivalence there? Heated seats in your car does nothing for the performance, but it sure makes you feel good in days like today. So one of the keys to getting our buyers to demand high-performance homes is to help them better understand the value of these homes. Empower the homeowner to make better decisions by providing them with clear information on the whole home. Let them know the real advantages such as durability, indoor air quality, improved energy efficiency, and of course, the energy cost savings. We can do better at conveying that the returns on investment are not just financial. There's multiple returns on investments. We need to cut through the confusing marketing messages and convey the real story in a manner that is easy to understand and not condescending. And we need to provide homeowners with feedback on how their house is performing. And this one was really important for us. Here we were going to go build a net zero ready home, or probably a near zero home in this case, probably not net zero ready. And convey all these wonderful features of it, but not give the buyer or the homeowner any tools at all, other than maybe a little thermostat that has a digital readout as to what this home is doing. So we know we can build net zero homes technically, and they're great until somebody moves in. So we incorporated an energy management system into this house. A fairly simple one. We searched high and low. We finally landed on one being that's built by a company in Boston, and it's not cost prohibitive for a residential application. It's about $500, and it's fairly robust, circuit by circuit monitoring, and it gives really nice dashboard feedback in real time.
What's it called?
E-monitor. I can demo that after for you in real time if you want, but right here, that's a screenshot of it. So we integrated this into the house among some other tools. I've got you know, a thermostat that I can monitor and change with my iPhone. It'll email me when the temperature gets too hot or too cold, or the humidity gets too high or too low, and then I can turn on fans and things like that. And again, $350. So we're not talking about super high-end, really expensive, prohibitive home automation stuff. We're talking about tools that people will actually be able to afford and use today. The other benefit of this is it's really fun. The novelty does wear off a little bit, but it's fun, and I guarantee you anybody coming over for dinner gets to see this at that house. And it's a story that that homeowner now gets to tell about how efficient their home is. And we think that if hundreds of homes had this, and they were being compared, there was a place where they could compare the results one to the next, not only would you would people have a better understanding of the home, but I think you'd actually drive behavior. You'd start to drive people to compete. You can also integrate these things room by room, so you can have your children understanding how much energy they're using in a room. And some people have tied that to allowance, things like that. If you get $3 of power this month, if you only use $2, I'll give you $1. But it's effective at teaching, and I think that's what it's all about. The trades, engaging the trades that build homes is critical to moving high-performance homes into a mainstream. Without them, we can't do anything, and that's why the integrated process is so critical. So we want them to embrace the concept of the home as a system, and when this happens, it'll be less likely, for example, for a plumber to put a 6-inch hole when he only needs a 3-inch hole in your rim joist, because he's going to understand that by putting that hole in there, he's affecting the HVAC system and the air seal in the home. So that's what's really important.
You can get
Trades.
plumbers to do that.
What's that?
You can get plumbers to do that.
Our plumber fit a 4-inch pipe in a 4-inch hole,
Wow.
but it was after he drilled a 6-inch hole first. And then you slap him on the wrist and he does background. But they get it. So it's the engagement that matters. It's not it's not punitive. It's not back charge your plumber because he put those wrong size hole in. But it is hard. They need to be engaged so they can better understand that things don't need to cost more just because they're different. Just because they don't have a 3-stud corner, a 2-stud corner, where on the 3-stud corner, all that 3rd stud is hold the drywall, doesn't mean the drywaller gets to charge me more because I have to use a clip now. It's easier. And so we brought these guys into our office before we built this house. And while it sounds trivial, I showed the drywaller the clip. He says, oh, I've seen those before, we've never used them because they're a pain. I said, well, tell me why they're a pain, and he said he couldn't. They were easy. And they didn't charge us more for it. But it took that one more level of engagement before we got to that stage. And if they don't get it, then move on. Find the next trade that will. Getting the trades involved early and providing them the opportunity for genuine input helps them transform the experience working on these projects. They actually feel like they're contributors now. And most of these guys like what they do. They do it not just because their jobs. They care about what they do, at least the ones that we like to work with. And we also put it to them that it's not an opportunity, it's an opportunity, not a hassle. They're going to be on the forefront as this starts to become mainstream. So they'll be able to grow their businesses. Suppliers and manufacturers of products for our homes have to provide true value. This was a big problem for us, it still is. There's many products out there that will help move high performance construction into the mainstream, but we found they're often being held back by a lack of technical support, prices that are just falsely inflated. Products will cost more just because they're green. That's part of that greenwash. And at least the value of that product was not being well conveyed by those selling it. We became real guardians against greenwash, to the point where we probably dismissed some good products too. But as products move through the distribution chain from the manufacturer through to end user, it's really important that the value of technical support is maintained. We would find a lot of the times that the wholesalers and dealers that were bringing these new products on board had inadequate or no knowledge of the product, and we had no other way of getting it. We tried to get some really unique furnaces made in Canada It's actually a fan coil system made in Canada. We were told by the manufacturer, go to the distributor. We go to the distributor, the big distributors, they deal with all these guys. They said, oh, I think I've heard of that before. They punch it, oh yeah, we carry that. But I don't have any in stock. They had no technical knowledge of it, but that's where we had to buy it. So we didn't buy it in the end, we had to move on. Regulators are being challenged with the pace of the changes, and they'll continue to be challenged with new products, techniques, and innovations. This is happening at light speed right now. So I empathize a little bit with the regulators, and most of the time I'm like, so they need to support us. How they're able to support innovation is the key to how quickly we'll be able to move these in. We're experiencing things in Calgary right now with spray foam. I don't know what it's like in other cities, but it's very difficult to use certain products in Calgary, and decisions get made quickly and at the administration level, and the guys in the field or guys building houses just don't know what to do. There's many examples I have of those, but it's another presentation. Regulations need to be open to innovation.